Hi, y'all. I'm Whitney Rye, and you're listening to the Mash Bill podcast. As you can see, I am here at the Old Steelhouse Distillery in Deatsville, Kentucky, and this place is absolutely beautiful, but more than that, it's very historic. So I'm about to sit down with the founders of this company, and we are going to dive into all of that history, along with their story and the story of this bourbon. Cheers. Hi, guys. Thanks for inviting me. So excited. Yeah, absolutely. No, this is like why I do all of this, just so I can get behind the scenes VIP tours.
It's a good plan.
Yeah, it's worked out for me so far. So I'm very happy with it. So we are here at Old Steelhouse Distillery, and we are working on making Old Steelhouse bourbon. You all started with Blueprint and then changed that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. First, I want to dive into who you guys are. So you're the founders of the company, correct?
Correct.
All right, so I'm going to go around and talk to you guys. So Rick, you want to start and tell me who you are and what you do?
Sure. So, name is Rick Puig, and I'm the president of the company. Almost 7 years ago, I met Dr. Schulteis, who was the former owner of the property. From the moment that I stepped on the site here, it was just an amazing experience, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to see the buildings and the state that they're in. Really, became friends with the doctor. We discussed ideas about what we could do with the property.
Yeah.
After sort of collaborating with him for several years, he decided he would hand the baton over. Really, the idea that we discussed was how do we really preserve what's here, really preserve the doctor's legacy, the legacy of this property. So it was really a great honor for him to trust, that we would do right by this place.
Yeah, because it's a big
it's a big project.
baton to task.
It's a super big project.
Yeah.
And so really it was that relationship that we established. He was a pilot and did all the flight certifications for all the UPS pilots.
Awesome.
And I'm a private pilot as well, and so we had a lot of that connection.
Okay.
But really just for several years, really discussed the project. He handed the baton over to us, and really after we kind of inked the contract is when the doctor passed away.
Okay.
And which was really shocking because although he was 96 years old, he was still really in great health.
Ooh, 96 though.
96, he was still working.
Good for him, right?
How they found out he passed away, he didn't show up for work one day. And,
oh no.
And so it was quite interesting because it was shocking, because we thought he would live on to see us do the work and kind of be there side by side. And we didn't have that experience, so we do feel him here today, kind of looking down on us. But
he's still watching.
He's still watching,
making sure that you guys are doing it right.
Yeah. So really, it's just a really special honor.
Yeah.
And I've known Brian since we were 15 years old. Maybe even younger.
Yeah,
maybe
14,
even younger than that.
Wow.
14 years.
I won't make you say how old you are now.
Older than that.
Older than that. Nice. Okay, so for a long time, you guys have known each other.
We've known each other for a long time. Both Brian and Dave have a hospitality background. Let them kind of explain more about that. But that's really what's super important to us here is hospitality. And
love that.
That's our focus, is having people come out and really experience this place and feel like they're at home, I guess, if you will, but
not too at home.
Not too at home. It's a little dustier. Hopefully people's home is not as dusty as this place.
Well, and hopefully people don't get too comfortable and end up like some of the distillery cats and just going wherever they want, doing whatever they want.
Right.
So Brian, tell me about you. What are you doing here?
Well, I'm the chief operating officer of the company, which I do lots of stuff. We all really do. I think that's one thing about our team is that, if people need help with stuff, even if it's their responsibility, we all collaborate and work together to do.
Small team, right?
Yeah, it is a small team.
Yeah.
So it's nice. Like Rick said, we met, I think it was probably like in 8th grade when we met. So
who knew?
We didn't know.
However long down the road, you guys are going to be working together, having a blast, making bourbon.
So Rick pulled me in and was like, "You're still doing the hotel stuff, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what's going on?" So I looked at this project from like a desktop kind of scenario, looking on Google Earth and looking at the site, and I'm like, this guy's freaking crazy. Put a hotel out there in the middle of like a farmland or something. So I was really skeptical, but I was like, I'll give it a chance. And I came up here, and the second I stepped on the property, I was just like, whoa, this is amazing. I mean, this is like people left work on Friday afternoon, punched through cards, and like never came back. So just the historical impact that you feel when you come on the property was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I was still skeptical. But then we started kind of hitting the bourbon trail. We went over to like places, other distilleries around town and just outside of town. And I started kind of taking the tours and seeing some of the historic buildings that were on some of the other properties, seeing all the cars in the parking lot, all the people in the gift shop. And I was thinking,
starts giving you hope.
You really might be able to make something like this work. So then as we started to kind of get further into it, I really believed in the project, and that's when I reached out to Dave. Dave and I met back in '97. Dave's a hotel architect, and I was working in the franchise business, working on projects all over the Southeast, and when I looked at the project, I was like, there's a lot of heavy lifting that's going to be going on in here, and I think that, you know, we could use the help. And that's when I started talking to Dave about it. And then once Dave was in and like really believed in the project too, then I got the team together. So
awesome.
So I kind of became the glue of the partnership. So
I love that.
These guys, it's great that, you know, they've gotten to know each other over the last couple of years, and everybody's, you know, really good friends, and we all have really good visions that are aligning. So that's for me, the main thing about why I'm here is I always wanted to work on something that was like iconic and could be like a legacy type of thing.
Yeah.
And you know, you can build a hotel here, you can build a hotel there, but when you have something like this, I mean, this takes it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
So it's you know, we already have a lot of satisfaction from doing what we've done, but we have a lot more to do, and it's going to be so much more satisfying once we get it all done and people are coming and
it's all about the journey, right?
Yeah,
you gotta getting there makes you
Absolutely.
so much more dedicated to whenever you're finally there,
Yeah,
rather than just come in and buying a property that's already done and you just slap your name on it. This is so much more in depth, everything you're doing, like you said, right?
Without a doubt. I mean, in a lot of the challenges, I mean, we're working with the historic tax credit program to renovate a lot of the buildings and add a lot of new uses to it. So it takes some heavy lifting. So I think it's great that we got a good diversified team that can execute.
Your turn, Brian. Or Brian, I'm talking to Brian. Your turn, Dave.
Well, like Brian said, I'm a second generation hotel architect. My dad started doing hotels back in the 60s. In fact, he did what's now becoming the Trail Hotel.
Oh, nice.
When it was Holiday Inn. He was the architect for that way back when. And like Brian said, we worked together on a lot of projects from the mid-90s until he stepped out of the industry, and I've continued doing what I do. And he called me and said, you know, I was skeptical, but this may be a real deal. You want to come up and check it out? It might be something interesting for us to work on together. And I said, sure. So jumped on a plane. We met up here a couple weeks later and went through, like everybody said, walked on the site and was like, wow, this is so cool.
Yeah.
And
a little crazy, but
said,
like super cool.
This is a great opportunity to do something with an historic group of structures, not just a building. It's an historic campus, and with such deep history, it just immediately gave me chills. I was like, this is going to be awesome, and had to kind of pull back and like, am I getting too excited about it? Am I losing my objectivity here? But no, the numbers are going to be amazing, and it's just going to be an amazing project for the community and for us. Like Brian said, this is a legacy project.
Yeah.
I think for all of us. I mean, I don't think any of us are in here saying, "Oh, let's just get in and get out."
Right.
This is like get in and like retire here.
Yeah.
You know, make it our long term. You know, our long
never-ending project.
Yeah.
I think you have plenty of things that are on site just
and
here
for
that
me,
you
it
can
was
update.
especially unique because I was not into the bourbon lifestyle prior to getting involved in this. I called my wife and said, "Man, we might want to be part of this," and she's like, "You don't know anything about bourbon." I'm like, "I can learn."
You're like, apparently that doesn't matter.
And then, right. But that's really, for me, that's one of the greatest parts of this project.
Yeah.
Every time I'm here, every time we're working on something, every time I talk to Lorenzo or Adam, I'm learning stuff that's completely new for me.
Yeah.
And the architecture stuff is great, but it's kind of routine now.
Yeah.
It's not like I get excited about doing a sketch of a building. I get excited about this because it's something so unique and it's just something to learn that's totally new.
Probably a little bit more exciting drawing these buildings because there's, I mean, so much to do, right?
There's so much to do.
Has that been a big challenge, just trying to figure out like where to start and where to go next?
Yeah, especially with the way that the industry's been changing over the last couple of years. It's really, I think we're fortunate that we've been taking our time and doing it right, because if we would have moved too fast, we could have been in a bad situation like several of the other distilleries and have been running into lately. So I think we've had to pivot a few times, but being a destination location on the Bourbon Trail, I mean, we've got several different buckets to derive revenue from.
Yeah.
So having that diversity is what can make this project keep moving forward, where, quite frankly, if this was just a distillery play, I'm not sure that we'd be moving it forward in today's environment just because of what it is. So
does that mean that you guys are going to hopefully do some hotel things here?
Yeah.
That's the plan. We've been working with a major franchise company. They've verbally said that they're on board with us. So I think
awesome.
we're going to keep moving in that direction. So it's going to be one heck of a place.
That's exciting.
And we plan to do event space out here so we can do corporate type of events during the week and hopefully a lot of weddings on the weekend and events.
Everybody
like that.
loves getting married at a distillery.
Sure,
I think it's just such a cool idea.
And the problem is for most distilleries that there's nowhere to stay.
Right.
So when we can capture, the lodging here on site and have people come to the restaurant and cater with our booze and with our food, I mean, it's a compelling business argument. So
have you guys had, I mean, we've talked a lot about how historic this property is. Have you guys had issues trying to like update the property because it's so historic?
Well, working with the historic tax credit program is not something that moves at lightning speed.
Right.
So that's obviously a challenge, but well worth it with the back end tax credit.
Well, and beneficial potentially because
Without
like you
doubt.
said, like going a little bit slower has been probably better than just dropping a ton of money in and opening and then, hoping for the best.
Well, and with the tax credit, you have to get everything approved before you start really doing any work on the buildings, or else you could actually disqualify yourself from the tax credit. So, it's unfortunate because we can't move as fast as we want to, but at the same time, not having the tax credit, it's going to cost a lot of money to get these buildings renovated and put those new uses in them.
Yeah.
And if we didn't have a tax credit, it probably wouldn't have an economic feasible situation on hand. So, it's necessary, but
and it benefits this community, right? So we're in Deatsville, right on the side of Nelson County, right on the side of the Bullitt County, Nelson County line. Jim Beam's just a little bit ways down the road, and then you go the other direction and you get to Bardstown. Correct. So there's not a lot here right now. This community has like a gas station, and I think there's a couple of maybe Airbnbs, but there's not a lot here. So it does feel like something that's going to benefit the Deatsville economy and community as a whole, and not to mention Bardstown as well. So let's talk a little bit about the brand. So we are drinking
Old Steelhouse.
Okay.
It's Old Steelhouse Distillery. This is the Blueprint series. This is actually our second release. It's a 5-year wheated Kentucky bourbon. It's got lots of nice caramel on the nose, and we played with this quite a bit with proofing and with water pH, and just really dialed something special in. Was
that fun for you guys as you're like learning about bourbon and you're getting to now go in and make your own?
All of the just subtleties of like the chemistry and just like how it's like an art and a science kind of put together. It's really amazing. Like for example, when we were proofing this down, we were doing it like 2 proof points at a time. Started at 13, went all the way down to 101, and kind of 105 was the magic number. But if you looked at like 103, 105, and 107, they were just so drastically different just with 2 proof points of water. And then like we said, we played with the pH of the water after we decided 105, and it got even better. So we're fortunate we got some good palates on our team, not just us, but you know, Adam and Lorenzo, and it's that's one of the most fun parts is like sitting down and playing with stuff. And
So what do they do here? What does Adam do? What does Lorenzo do here?
Adam,
Other than everything.
yeah, everybody does everything.
Yeah.
Adam wears a lot of hats. I mean, he kind of takes care of the property first and foremost, and he's the director of our hospitality experience.
Okay.
So he's, you know, always out there keeping his eye on. He's in town doing tastings. He's you know, helping Lorenzo sometimes. He works with the city sometimes when we're trying to push things through, like the permitting officer zoning. So he's been really valuable for the organization. Lorenzo, same way. He's not just the head distiller here. He wears lots of hats too. He's been working on a good sales blitz for our blueprint product here for us moving into Indiana, hopefully in the next couple of months. That's the plan. So we're just here in Kentucky now, but
eventually, all over the place.
Eventually.
And what's cool about this too is this bottle, if you notice, it's got the blueprint on it.
Yeah, so tell me more. So how did you guys come up with the bottle design, all of the different things that are on the bottle? Like, tell me where that came from.
Well, I think the most important thing is every product that we make here, we really want to tie it to the property, right?
Yeah.
Because the property is so special. So how do you take a brand, you know, create a brand and tie it to what's going on here? And so, years ago, we discovered a whole trough of old blueprints from the 1930s.
For this area?
For this building. For these,
Wow.
for these buildings.
Okay.
And all the structures and everything inside of it.
Yeah.
And so
I'm sure that helped you out.
This is the, right. Yeah. Well, this is the engine room that you saw already.
Yep.
And so, I mean, and these are the actual technical blueprints for that equipment.
So it doesn't just look like a blueprint. It is a blueprint that you guys pulled from this property that you found while you were going through.
It is the actual blueprint. So
that's so cool.
And so this is the Old Steelhouse Blueprint series, and so we call it the series because we will be doing different types of bourbon,
batches,
whiskey, and batches in this series.
Okay.
So each bottle will have a different blueprint.
It sounds like you got plenty.
We've got about you.
So high hopes that these are going to go.
Well, we don't typically use like the entire blueprint. We'll maybe focus in on one certain aspect of the blueprint.
Yeah.
So the original release that we had a grain hopper from the property here.
Cool.
This one has the engine room. We did design, so each batch that we do, batch product has a new blueprint. We also released a single barrel label, so that's it's like a rick house essentially.
Yeah.
But and it's got a secondary label, so when there's different types of juice in there, it gets signified by that secondary label. But
that's awesome. So how do you guys pick like which blueprint goes on which batch or bottle? Do you start with the blueprint, or do you start with the batch and then you go through and you find which blueprint makes sense for it?
I think we decide what we're going to do. Typically, you know, what we're gonna, what is the product that we're trying to bottle. And then we decide, what's the blueprint that we want to use.
Okay.
So we've used, like Brian said, we've used the grain hopper. The engine room is really significant because it's so interesting.
So tell me about the engine room, because I know we went and saw it, and it's amazing. Like it's just so historic.
Right.
I think we decided that it was 1942 was whenever that was constructed.
Right. Yeah. So super interesting space on the property. It's really a testament to how smart they were back in the day. I mean, it goes beyond just making bourbon and cooking mash, and that was really what powered the entire property. And so it's super fascinating. I mean, just to see the equipment that's there that sort of stopped in time. Yeah. So it really kind of puts you back in that time where your mind starts thinking about, wow, I can imagine when there's over 800 people working here.
Right, and I even made the comment, like, I'm sure they weren't wearing earplugs, right?
Yeah,
as loud as that room probably was, it was probably hot,
it was loud,
crazy work conditions.
Well, and they even like fabricated their own tools.
I know we
really
gave Brian the little crooked,
The wrenches.
crooked wrench, I guess. I'm sure it has a technical name. I am not the one to ask about that. But yeah, so all of those tools that we saw were things that you guys found in that space, correct?
Right,
So
right.
those are things that would have been used to work on the machinery and the equipment that was in that room.
Right.
Which is so crazy.
Keep it all running.
And of course,
Yeah.
we want to preserve all that.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
showcase it, and we plan to do events, in that space.
What would that look like? Because I know all of it's really super central in that room. So what
Right.
would that look like to be able to build that out where you can bring people in?
Right. So we've built a bar that goes around all the equipment, and we've used old rail car flooring for the bar top.
Which is so cool.
And,
where did you get that from? Around here as well?
was here.
It was
all
here.
on the
It was
property.
here.
There's all
That was
kinds
here.
of stuff here.
Man, you guys need to have a HGTV show. All the different things that you pull and
Right.
reuse and repurpose. I love
There's
that.
a lot. There's a
yeah.
lot. There's a lot. And that's what we want to do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes
Because that's
sense,
its own
right?
way of preserving history. You're finding things that were from that same era that you already have access to, right? And I'm sure that helps with cost of like just refurbishing instead of just completely replacing.
Right.
And then it ties that history in of all aspects of this distillery into each and every single space.
Right.
Sometimes that can cost more. It's worth it in the end.
Depends on what you find
worth it
and
in
how
the
good
end.
of condition it's in. It's totally fair. So tell me where we're at right now, because this is such a great room. So
Right.
Yeah,
who wants
this
to
is
jump in?
this is one of the old bottling rooms. You can see over here, the cases with just the empty bottles would come down here, and then you hit the bottle sorter here, the filling station. It would go around the back over here where they would put their eyes on it to
Yeah.
make sure there was no foreign object or anything inside, or the color was off. Then it would come down through the labeler and head down this conveyor belt, which we're looking to get operational again.
That'd be cool.
We want to do one of the tastings in this
Where
space.
all the glasses just come down the conveyor belt and
You
they
got
stop
it.
in front of
You
you?
got it.
That sounds pretty cool.
Like an I Love Lucy.
This bottling room was predominantly where the women would work, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was all women, actually.
All
that
women in
worked
here.
in the bottling room, but apparently there were a lot of men that would come in and hang out in the bottling room because all the
women were here. That hasn't changed.
Yeah. I mean, we were told that there was actually 800 people that were employed by this distillery
Wow.
at one point in time.
And they had the women in one spot. So
They had them here. They kept them in here, but and we've got some of the employment records here
Yeah.
that we've located, and it shows all the names of the people, and it really brings the people into the into the
Makes them
the
real.
story,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And,
absolutely.
And so there's all kinds of stories here. There was a story of Mary Rummage, who was here in 1950. And she was the one that did all the quality control on the bottles.
Okay.
And so
Gotta leave that task to women.
She took her job seriously. She took
Yep.
it seriously. And so I guess the story goes like one day some of the guys came in and they decided to play a joke on her, and they put a little peanut in one of the bottles to see if she would catch it as it goes by.
Yeah.
And she caught it. She caught it. She caught it. And she was not happy.
Not a happy person.
She was not happy. Don't mess with Mary. Do
Yeah.
not mess with Mary.
So that's when all the men got banned from coming in.
and then they were allowed to come
Unless-
in.
unless
One
they
guy
have a-
ruins it for everybody.
Yeah,
It always happens that way.
So you had to have an actual purpose for coming in.
Right,
Gotcha.
At that point, if you were a
Not to
male
put a
employee.
peanut in a bottle.
Right.
Save that for later.
But I think what
It ruined all the fun.
Yeah.
And I think what it shows you too, stories like that really remind us and tell us how much people really had their hearts in this place.
Yeah.
Even though they were having fun, it was still they really believed in what was going on here. And we got to keep in mind, like, this is back in the day when bourbon industry, it was different, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, this was one of the biggest distilleries in the world at the time, and all of those 800 people, we can't help but think that really, most of them really had their hearts in this place. And I feel like, the spirit of that, is sort of pushing us along,
Right. And they're just like us, like we are now, right? Like they're trying to hang out with each other during work. They're trying to play tricks on each other. There's always one person that ruins it for everybody, and then somebody that sets them all straight. So
Exactly.
very similar. So let's talk about the history of the distillery rather than just the place. Like, what did this used to be? Like full in depth. What was it used for before you guys purchased it? Tell me more about that.
Well, it started out as the T.W. Samuel and Son Distillery, and they were making bourbon, but then
Yeah.
when the war broke out, they converted over to producing industrial alcohol, and the government helped support the expansion of the property.
And that would have been World War II.
Correct.
World War II.
Right.
Correct.
So how long was it a distillery before it transferred over?
1930s.
Maybe about
30s?
9 years,
Okay.
a little under a decade.
Okay.
So they opened that right after Prohibition, and then
Nice.
and then became a industrial alcohol
Okay.
facility after.
So 33 was, December 5th, 1933 was repeal day. So probably 34, 35.
Yeah, I
and
believe they
then-
started construction on this before the repeal.
Oh, brave.
So yeah,
Good work.
And this
We-
was actually
they all knew.
this was actually the second distillery that Samuels built here. There was another that was up the road.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
Out in
I think that
Loretta?
I think they burned that one down accidentally, but yeah, and again, once Prohibition was lifted, it opened. After the distillery stopped making booze, the doctor had purchased it and started taking the limestone water from
Yeah.
the aquifer down the road, and started a water bottling company, and was using these facilities to bottle water. That continued for, I don't know, a couple decades maybe, until some of the big boys like Coke and Pepsi started getting
Right.
into the water game, and that kind of changed everything. But
Yeah.
he was real innovative for his time, and real just amazing guy with a crazy story.
So tell me more about him, because I know you guys have a fire truck here,
Yeah.
right? So, and that's right in your museum. So whenever you guys open, people will be able to come out and see that.
Right.
But tell me why there's a big giant fire truck in the middle of your museum area. Who wants to take that
well,
story?
the doctor bought the
Okay.
fire truck because apparently it was going to help him on his insurance rates.
Ah, okay.
So it was, he was a very, very creative, innovative man.
Yeah.
Further to what Brian was saying, I mean, he was even rubbing alcohol on this exact bottling line.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But he was actually one of the first company he established was transporting blood plasma.
Oh.
So, right. So,
It's all in the same realm.
back in the day, right. So now it's right.
They bottled that on this.
Yeah.
None of that was going on here. But some of the old trucks are actually on the site.
Oh,
and
wow.
Refrigeration trucks, and but he found the need, and
Yeah. Made it happen.
And he did it. And he did it.
That's awesome.
And he did it, but it was interesting because he owned the property for when he first came out here. I mean, he would come out here at night and work all
Yeah.
night long. And funny story was, back in the day, like his wife, didn't really know that he was here, didn't even know that he had bought the property, and she's like, "Gosh, I thought maybe you were seeing somebody else this whole time."
Isn't
He's
it
like,
so
"No, I just
funny?
actually own this big, huge distillery. Like, let me show you, bud."
Could you all imagine, buying this distillery and, just not telling anyone? And,
Probably wouldn't go over very
No,
well.
I don't think that would go over very well at
We couldn't
all.
keep a secret. We couldn't keep that secret. I don't think.
Not today with social media and everything else that was going on. There's no chance anybody is getting away with that these days.
But he was an incredible man, and again, he was a pilot.
Yeah.
So we actually have one of his old airplanes on site. We'll have
This
to
is
show
crazy.
you
So
that.
is it just like you guys just bought it all and it was like furniture included? You just got
Almost.
a fire truck and an airplane and a Harley?
Right.
That's
The
wild.
plane is still
Cats and groundhogs.
The plane still belongs to the estate, and we've got it here in the hangar. We've got
Okay,
an airplane
gotcha.
Hangar, but it's really, really cool
Yeah.
airplane.
Well, there's a
And,
landing strip on the property as
Oh,
well.
wow.
Yes, that makes
Right.
more sense.
So this
why
can
you
just
have
be like a
hangar.
full resort. You
Right.
could fly right in,
fly
stay at a
in,
hotel, eat
right.
here, drink bourbon. I like where this is going.
biplane tours,
Right. That would be a lot of fun. I mean, we have a little airport here.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
It'd be good to have another landing strip. Figure that all out.
And it's Samuel's Field too.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
So it ties in together. You just see if you could use their license.
and this is Samuel Springs. We've
There
got
you
a
go, okay.
registered airport here.
That's
It's actually
awesome.
registered.
It's a private
So yeah,
airport,
you guys
Samuel
can just
Springs.
fully bring people in
Please
and do all
don't
of
tell
the
people
things.
not to fly and land here,
Yeah.
please.
No gas. No gas.
We don't have fuel.
No.
We don't have jet fuel.
Definitely don't have fuel.
Any of that.
And it's been raining so much lately, you wouldn't want to land
Oh,
on the
that's
strip
true.
right now either. It's a grass strip.
But I've flown out here with Jim, Dr. Schulteis's son.
Yeah.
So, and that's been really cool because Jim, although we didn't know Jim at the beginning, over the years we've become very good friends.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, he comes up for Bourbon Fest with
so
us.
Heck yeah.
we, exactly.
I love that. Well,
so it's
that's,
really cool.
I think I met most of you guys at Bourbon Festival, right? Was that our first time meeting?
Probably.
I think Adam has been doing a very good job because, he introduced me to everybody at different points. But
Right.
yeah, Bourbon Festival is just such a great time to come in and meet people and
Right.
enjoy it.
Right.
We had a lot of fun because I was bidding on your barrel that you were selling at the
Right.
auction.
Right.
And then ended up getting invited to come out and do the barrel pick with them, which was really
Oh,
cool.
nice.
So yeah, that was a lot of fun.
We just had the second group come this past
Oh,
weekend.
nice.
and they
See, I didn't meet them, I don't think. Because it was, you guys basically said, well, we've got another barrel. If you want to pay the same price, we'll give two of them away. So they
Right.
both did it.
Yep.
'Cause I bowed out pretty quickly, I think.
Right.
I was just having fun at the auction.
You were having fun.
I was having a lot
But you
of
bought
fun.
some other stuff.
I bought
Tons of
some other
stuff.
stuff.
You
I
got
bought
some other
plenty
stuff.
of
Everyone was
other
like,
stuff.
who is this?
I was like,
thing?
what is she buying?
When do we get our turn?
I was just like, come at me. Who's trying to bid against
The
me
little
right
thing,
now?
right? Maybe
Yeah.
you were a fan in yours. Maybe you were hot, but
It was
the
just
little
hot.
thing-
No, I wasn't hot. I was raising that thing pretty crazily. But it was Bourbon Festival. It was fun. We had a good time before the auction. So
Well, we had a
Right.
great, this last barrel experience especially was like one of the coolest things.
Yeah.
The group came in on Friday afternoon. We showed them around the campus. They actually did the pick that afternoon.
Yeah.
And then they came back out on Saturday and helped us bottle.
Oh, cool.
So, got a cool experience. And then we put them up at our Airbnb over the tasting room that we're developing downtown in Bardstown. And we can talk about that a little bit more.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we went out to dinner with them at Scout and Scholar on Saturday night, and then we did a little bar hopping with them, and it was like a really cool experience.
That's awesome.
I think we had as much fun as they did.
Oh, for sure.
And
So
we-
now everybody's going to be keeping an eye out.
Oh,
Are you
yeah.
guys doing another barrel this year at the Bourbon Festival auction potentially?
We'll see.
We hope
We'll see.
Okay.
We
We
hope
hope
All
to.
right.
to. We'll see.
So,
Well, if you do, I think everybody's going to be really excited about that experience.
exactly.
So yeah, let's talk about like what's next. So you guys are opening a tasting room in downtown Bardstown, and on the top floor it has an Airbnb. So you want to dive into that?
Sure. It's got it's down on 3rd, right in the kind of the sweet spot of downtown.
Yeah.
Surrounded by a lot of restaurants and shops and bars. So it's
And my tasting room, if anybody wanted to. Yeah.
and
Mine will be right.
your tasting
Mine will be
room.
on the other side.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
We'll be
That's
neighbors.
correct.
We're gonna be neighbors.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
So it's a historic building. It's used to be a restaurant downstairs. So we're gonna really take it to a whole different direction.
Yeah.
We're ripping the old bar out, putting a new bar in. We're building an isolated room that's strictly for tastings and,
Cool.
and can be used for private events as well.
Okay.
It obviously having the Airbnb up top is a nice plus. as
Very
well.
convenient.
Absolutely.
Just walk downstairs and drink, walk upstairs and sleep and shower and go back out on the town. Exactly. Yeah.
So not only will we be, you'll be able to come in and do neat pours, flights, actually go and do a tasting.
Yeah.
We'll also have merchandise on site, including bottles that you'll be able to
That's
purchase
awesome.
on site.
That'd be really cool.
While it's going to take us a while to really get things moving here,
Right.
working with that historic tax credit, there's no such thing as ADA on
Yeah.
this property. So,
Right.
to have
A lot of
have
things
it-
to consider
Right,
and
to have
put
it
in
open
place.
to the public
Yeah.
really is a challenge to
Right.
do it quickly. So we felt that it would be a great idea to really join the momentum of downtown Bardstown and seeing it over the last few years really start to change direction.
Yeah.
And now they have the open container area downtown that people can enjoy and,
Yep.
and walk back and forth. And as this weather continues to get better and better, you're going to see so much more traffic down there.
I know, I'm so excited. The Bourbon
So-
Capital District was a huge game changer. And that started, I think,
Awesome.
last year on National Bourbon Week. They got that launched. So shout out to Sam Lacey.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cheers. For
Cheers to
Sam.
Sam.
Yeah, cheers to Sam. We all appreciate your hard work.
Certainly do.
And on that note, I think it is important to mention that we really are so grateful with the support that we've gotten from the community.
Yeah.
And that's what's so great about
We are
this.
excited that you guys are here.
community,
So I think it's a
yeah.
big deal that
Right.
you guys are coming in. But
Right.
yeah, I think people have a stigma when it comes to like more distilleries coming in and more, but you guys are doing so much and you're giving so much back, right? And you're creating this space for an area that doesn't have anything. And then also adding in the aspect of downtown Bardstown and having that available, it's going to be huge as well.
Yeah.
our tourism is constantly trying to get more people here, and they've done a very good job.
Right.
So
For sure.
the more we have, the more we offer, the more people come.
Exactly.
Right.
Perfect.
Right.
Exactly.
Guy lives all shit.
Exactly, yes. So anything else before?
Bourbon Trail saw like 2.7 million, I think,
Yeah.
was the last number
No,
I saw
we've-
for last year. So
we
that's-
have been
it's a couple 100,000 more than the
very
previous
well
year.
received by the bourbon community.
Absolutely.
And it's a bucket list place for people to come and visit. And I just hope people know that we are very welcoming whenever they do come. And it's been fantastic to get to see all these people and understand where they come from and why they're here and talk them into coming back later. And a lot of people have started moving here after their first or second visit. There's a lot of people that are just like, you know what? I love it so much, I'm staying. So
I'm trying to talk my wife into it. It's not going so well so far.
there you go.
But I am always keeping my eyes open for houses that are coming up on the market because
They don't stay long.
I was gonna say they're
Yeah,
few and
they
far
don't.
between because
Don't last long at all.
everybody's doing the same thing as you. So anything else y'all want to point out before we wrap up? Any other last minute things?
What else did we not discuss? We talked about bourbon.
I think we nailed
talked
it.
about, we obviously are working on quite a few new releases.
Yes.
We can't mention everything now, but.
That's okay.
But stay tuned.
Yes.
We've got some really cool stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
everything we want to do, we want to do something unique, right?
Yeah.
So that's.
Yeah.
And
And, I mean, it's
tying things
fantastic
up.
so far, so keep up the good work. Obviously, you
Thanks.
guys are doing it right.
Thank
Lorenzo's working hard in there, making
He
great
is.
bourbon.
He is.
Super excited to
He
help him a
is.
little bit today.
And that's an historic thing too, is I mean, getting our craft distillery operational.
Yeah.
So really, as of about 30 days ago, was the first batches that have been run here since the 1970s.
That's so crazy.
So, it's a
But
really.
it's now it's happening.
It's happening,
So,
it's operational.
yeah.
And,
And when do you think you guys are going to be able to open your tasting room? Do you have like maybe an ideal
we're
launch date?
We're hoping by the end of the summer is
Okay,
our
so
target.
potentially
Definitely by
before Bourbon
Bourbon Fest.
Festival. Okay.
definitely.
Well, I don't want to say definitely.
Definitely. I'm saying definitely.
So that's the first weekend in September, I believe, right? The 5th through the 7th?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes. So.
perfect.
It's
So
gonna be
if
a
you're
great
coming
time.
in for Bourbon Festival,
It's going to be amazing.
stop by the tasting room, hopefully. If we
And we'll be at the Bourbon Fest too, so.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys again for chatting with me. This has been
thank you.
so much
Thanks for
fun.
coming out.
I love this place.
Appreciate
I'm
it.
super glad that it's coming back.
Cheers.
Here we go. Cheers. Thank you guys so much for listening. As you can see, this distillery is a historic piece of art, and now you know why. If you want more stories like this, follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Parlor Room Tastings and TikTok and Snapchat at Whitney Rye. Until next time, cheers.